Because here, again, is another sudden acceleration. Now the caves are again being used, but this time even deeper than they were before. The most sacred art starts to appear, you know, in the deepest parts of the caves. It is never, vandalized. It is always taken as sacred. It's quite clear that here is where the most sacred ceremonies, the most sacred rituals, shamanic experiences took place.
Yeah.
Not in the mouths of the caves, which were often either used for communal purposes, or would be avoided because obviously here you would find wild animals and things like this.
Yeah.
But no, some of this art now starts appearing, maybe kilometres underground.
Yeah.
And there is no reason for this. Some of the top Paleolithic, art researchers into rock and cave art have said, why should this be?
Yeah.
And this process continues on right the way through to about 11,000 years ago. And then we have the Neolithic Revolution in the Near East. Right, not the same area, but time-wise, something big has gone on. Something has led to the rise of civilization now. The first stone temples in the Near East, which, as we said, aligned to Cygnus, and something major is taking place now. The transition, obviously, also coinciding with the end of the last ice age. The gradual warming of the climate, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this is a part of it. But why did civilization suddenly begin at this time?
Yeah.
And what I'm suggesting and what I'm proposing in the Cygnus Mystery, of which you can find all of this information in, or most of it at least, is that there is a strong possibility that cosmic rays could have accelerated human evolution at certain periods, probably around 35 to 40,000 years ago, and then later around 17,000 years ago.
Fascinating. And you, a passage here that you sent me in a mail, I can just read it briefly. It says, ever since the discovery in the 1920s that radiation causes mutation in DNA, the heredity material of life itself, scientists have wondered what role high-energy cosmic rays might have played in evolution. Now a new book by science and history writer Andrew Collins provides stunning evidence that cosmic rays not only changed evolution, but were responsible also for the acceleration of both civilization and amazingly even organized religion. So you are incorporating all of these ideas of kind of evolutionary bursts, I guess, and the spawning of new religion and so forth to this constellation and to this star then, I guess.
I am.
Yeah.
And a couple of points here. Firstly, I'm not saying this is the only influence that came to bear upon human evolution. There probably, in the southern hemisphere, may have been different stars that played similar roles. I'm not discounting that at all. Maybe Orion, maybe Sirius, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is one solution. But secondly, what's important here is that the idea that cosmic rays influenced human evolution is not new, and indeed it was proposed very seriously by the great astronomer and science space writer Carl Sagan as early as 1973 in his book The Cosmic Connection. And it was an idea that he followed through in another important book that he wrote in 1977 called The Dragons of Eden, where he expounded upon this idea. And what he saw was that a distant neutron star, that's what he specifically said, a neutron star, which, by the way, is a collapsed main sequence star like our own sun, that's gone through the process of supernova and has collapsed to a very tiny object, probably the size of a normal city, and is made entirely of neutrons. Probably an outer shell of crystal neutrons, which covers like a sort of liquid liquid center of pure neutrons. It's a very unusual object which astrophysicists even today are not entirely sure what it represents.
Yeah.
But just like a black hole, it will send out these incredible particle beams of energy that will be like some cosmic gun barrel, you know, shooting out bullets of cosmic stellar matter, debris.
Yeah.
And amongst these will be cosmic rays that will reach velocities in the range of the speed of light.
Yeah.
And although they may take, you know, many light years to reach us, because they're travelling very close to the speed of light, for them the distance would take, you know, a matter of minutes to reach here.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is a very, you know, weird dichotomy to understand what we mean, but, you know, this is all based on the special theory of relativity, you know, as set down by Albert Einstein himself. So, you know, this is within the realms of science. But let's not go there. I think that what's important is to say that this idea that cosmic rays influencing human evolution is something which is gaining ground, gaining momentum as we speak. I mean, when I came up with this idea for the Cygnus Mystery, which, you know, I was working in isolation, really. It was just a wild idea that suddenly came to me. As I was writing the book, indeed, when I was coming to the conclusions, I suddenly found that some ex-NASA-linked scientists who had also worked for the JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory at Pasadena in California, and responsible for the launch of various space satellites in the 80s and 90s, that they had also come up with a very similar theory about the origins of, you know, human evolution being affected by cosmic rays. And this was the Minor Institute out of Las Vegas, and, you know, they actually came over to Britain in December, and at a very, very prestigious archaeological conference in the north of England, in a place called Sheffield, they announced that, you know, that they felt that the cosmic rays had influenced evolution and gave their evidence for this. And the audience were obviously quite stunned and very bemused because it was full of professors and archaeological students. And although they probably didn't get the response that they'd anticipated, this set a ball rolling, really, which is gaining momentum as we speak.
Yeah.
Plus, I also find out that during the mid-1990s, a British anthropological writer by the name of Dennis Montgomery, all his details can be found on my website, proposed in a book which is available for download free online, that cosmic rays from the Cygnus direction were involved in advances in human evolution during the Paleolithic Age. You know, I mean, I couldn't believe that there's this guy, you know, saying that they were coming from the same direction. Now, initially, he believed it may be from a supernova, which are known to produce, you know, very high amounts of cosmic rays and gamma ray bursts and whatever, but only on a very, very short period of time, maybe just several days, you know, before gradually dying off. However, now he has heard my evidence for Cygnus X3 being the source of these cosmic rays. He has completely altered all of his writings and books to include this new information. So, you know, what I'm coming up with is something which makes sense to people, and I've written an academic paper about this, which is also available on the website, which people can download, you know, if they are scientifically minded.
Okay, excellent. Do you think that there are times when the bursts, the energy that is coming out from this area and from Cygnus, that it can be stronger at times and then, you know, die down for a while and just, you know, Is that something that you have discovered?
What's so interesting about that statement is that Cygnus X3 is very